by the Mercedes F1 team's high standards, the last year and a half has, competitively speaking, been a living nightmare. 25 races since the start of last season. How many Grand Prix wins? Just the one. This drop in form coincided with F1's new rule set, which came in at the start of 2022, which Mercedes failed to master.
Is Lewis panicking or is he slow? I feel like I've got a bit more patience. Struggling.
But it also coincided with a change in the team's technical management, when long-time technical director James Allison was promoted to chief technical officer to allow the team's highly rated aerodynamicist Mike Elliott, here on the right, to move up to technical director. But it hasn't worked out anywhere near as well as either would hope. Both last year's W13 and this season's W14 have been compromised by miscalculations, flawed theories, and unexpected consequences. Not all of the mistakes were Elliott's, but he presided over the cars, and in the course of figuring out how they got everything so wrong, Mike Elliott himself has concluded that he's not the right man for the technical director job. This isn't the way these things normally pan out in Formula One. Mike Elliott hasn't resigned, he hasn't been demoted. It doesn't really feel like he's been held accountable for the performance or otherwise of his cars. Instead, he's been promoted to the role of Chief Technical Officer. The previous CTO, James Allison, has come back down to Technical Director. So how does that work then?
Mike is better at thinking long term. Mike is better at working out where the long-term structural weaknesses in the organisation is, in the technologies are. He thinks more strategically than I do. I'm a bit more of a sort of blunderer around of applying lots of enthusiasm in the short term, and I'm relatively good as a hype man and getting the people in the factory pumped up for a fight. And you know, those are the sort of characteristic differences between us, which mean that I'm possibly a bit more suited to the technical director role, which feels the call of the current car much more strongly than the CTO role, which is preparing us for the wars to come.
So how do the drivers feel about the job swap?
Having James now there working alongside Mike, I think will only help us in a positive manner. I think Mike's been doing already such an amazing job, and I think collectively with everyone else back at the factory, it's going to take the next few months for us to really start to see the magic work on this car, and yeah, I'm excited about it.
Mike is one of, if not the most intelligent bloke I've ever come across in my life, but I think placing him in this new role will really put him in his element.
So what are the three takeaways? 1, James Allison is back, and that's a good thing. He's an old school engineer, a great leader of men and women, who in turn would do anything for him. 2, rather than scapegoating Mike Elliott and risk losing him to a rival team, Toto Wolff has delivered on his famous no-blame culture and found a position better suited to Elliott's talents. And finally 3, don't expect the job swap to return Mercedes to winning ways immediately. If Allison and his team get it right, next year, 2024 is the earliest, Lewis and George will have a car capable of challenging for the World Championship. But the move should also help Lewis feel more optimistic as he prepares to sign a contract renewal with Mercedes.